so let's get into the second part of the P1 notes. We're now looking at properties for simplifying algebraic expressions. So you can just fill these in on your notes or copy them into your notes, however you're doing it. Definition of subtraction. So A minus B is adding a negative. Okay. Definition of division is the same thing as, so division is the same thing as multiplying by a reciprocal. Distributive property for subtraction. So if you have something you're subtracting, you can distribute something to both terms. So A times B minus C is AB minus AC. Multiplication by zero, so that means zero multiplied by anything is zero. Makes sense, right? Multiplication by -1. Multiply something by -1, it becomes its opposite. A and negative A are opposites. Opposite of a sum, it's as if you're multiplying by -1. So A plus B turns into -A plus -B. Opposite of a difference, A becomes negative, B becomes positive. So what they really did is they just flipped it around, right? So instead of -A plus B, they flipped it, so it's B minus A. Opposite of a product, notice how it's not both those get a negative. Similar to what I was talking about before with a term, right? If you're distributing a -1 to multiple terms, they each get the negative. A times B is one term. So it's either -A times B or it's A times -B. The negative has to go to one of them, not both. Because if it went to both, it would then turn back to positive, right? And then the opposite of an opposite, so the opposite of A is back to A. All of that is to say, I'm not testing you on each of these things individually. These are just things that you're going to apply as you're simplifying. So before we start talking about like terms, you can add like things together. For instance, you can add a bunch of apples together. 3 apples plus 1 apple plus another 1.5 apples ends up being 5.5 apples. 4 Snickers plus 1 Snickers ends up being 5 Snickers. But what you can't do is add a Snickers and an apple together and get a Snapple. It doesn't work that way, right? They have to be, you can only add things together that are the same term. So when we simplify like terms here, again, it's only like terms that can be simplified. So so here, when I have h's and k's, only the h's can be added with the h's and the k's can be added with the k's. So you end up with 2h minus 3k plus 14h minus 21k. And then you combine the h's, so 2h plus 14h is 16h. Negative 3k minus 21k would be negative 24k. There's no rule that says one of those has to come before the other. I just did it alphabetically. It doesn't actually matter. But you cannot combine an h and a k. Over here, there's just m's and a constant. So let's distribute first. You have 30m plus 36 plus 3m. Add the two m's together. 30m plus 3m is 33m plus 36. Again, no rule that says the 36 has to come after the variable m, but I will generally put a constant at the end. Okay, again, not necessary, but that's normal. Over here, I'm distributing the negative r. Negative r times 1 is negative r. Negative r times negative 4r is plus 4r squared, and then minus 3r. The temptation here would be to add all those together, but you can't. R and r squared are not like terms. So 4r squared is by itself. Then negative r and negative 3r would add together. So negative 1 minus 3, negative 4r. That's it. You cannot combine them further. Okay. Generally speaking, if you have the same variable with different exponents, I would put it in order. We'll talk about that in a future chapter more, but that's as far as you need to go with that. And the last one here, I would distribute the negative in with it. So I'm distributing the negative 3a into both terms. So you have 4a squared. Negative 3a times 3 is negative 9a. Negative 3a times negative 5a is plus 15a squared. Combine the like terms, so it's just the a squares that go together. So it's 19a squared minus 9a. Okay? And then last example, find the perimeter. So what you learned in geometry is that perimeter is adding up the lengths of the outside of whatever the object is. So in this case, it's not, a normal rectangle or something like that. So there's multiple sides. So you're just adding up all the sides. You can only add the C's together with C's and the D's together with D's. C divided by 2, think about it. It's like if I combine C over 2 and C over 2, I'm going to add them together over here. They have the same denominator, so when I add them together, C plus C is 2C. The denominator would stay the same. When I would simplify that, the 2's go away. That's equal to C. So now I've got 1C, and I've taken care of that and that. Another C, so that's 3C. And then I have a minus C, so 3C minus C is 2C. And then when I add the D's together, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2C plus 4D would be combining all the like terms, which would be the perimeter of that shape. Something similar over here. So again, I've got this expression divided by 2 and this expression divided by 2. When I add them together, something divided by 2 plus something divided by 2 is going to be that thing. Not sure how that happened. Whatever. So you have 2a minus b. And then what I'm going to do is combine that with the other terms. So I've got another a plus 2a is 3a plus another a is 4a. Again, I've already used those. And then I've got 1, 2, 3 b's. So 2a plus 4a is 6a. Negative b plus 3b is plus 2b. All right, so that would be the perimeter of that shape. So again, it's just adding everything up together. So what we're going to do is you're going to work on the practice that I assigned in the CK12 system, so not the Savas, in the CK12. And we'll go from there. We'll have class time tomorrow to work on that as well. Okay.